Conor McGregor is in a very unique spot because of the success that he has previously had. We are questioning how good is Conor today. We're questioning how good can he be today. He's coming off a catastrophic injury. Many people forget that. His leg is broken in two. He then does 6 years on the shelf. So we question how good he is, but we've got to operate under the assumption that he's pretty damn good, considering he won an interim and undisputed and went 30 minutes with Floyd. Like, we have to assume, based on what he's done before, that he's pretty damn good. Now, if you're going to treat Conor like everybody else, and I want to pay off this Chandler statement first. It's about what's next. It's about where does this fight lead us? Now, Conor versus Chandler, and it breaks my heart that this isn't getting done, largely just on a personal level to see like what Chandler went through. And Conor himself, I got to give him credit, has tried to keep that, not for him, for Chandler. But that was...
I like the fight. Don't get me wrong. I like the fight. I think, honestly, Max would be a problem for Conor, a real problem. I think that's too much too soon for him. But then again, how much do you really have left with Conor McGregor? If you bring him back and have him fight Max Holloway and then he has one more fight, maybe you do the Nate Diaz fight and he's out of there. That would be an okay finish to his run, you know, the running the rematch with Max and the trilogy with Nate, sure. But I don't see Conor, you know, fighting for titles anytime soon or anything like that. So I was looking for big name, big time matchups. This is a big time matchup, but it's Max off a loss. I like the fight. I just like the Jorge fight more, if that makes sense. I don't know. Again, it's just more about the unknown with Conor. Maybe Conor is at the same level he was at in the Dustin trilogy, and without the leg break, that could have gone a different way. Maybe. But I don't know that. We know what Max's level is. We don't know with Conor.
There's so many rumors, you know, who could it be? And right now it's kind of floating around. Is it a Max Holloway rematch?
I can't say. You can't get me in trouble. You can't get me in trouble here. But it will be someone definitely exciting.
And you'll be in his corner.
I think I'm banned.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Well, I mean, if anybody was going to get me unbanned, it would be him. So.
Maybe he could FaceTime you?
Yeah,
or one of his coaches?
Hey, listen, that man, if there's anybody that has the IQ, there's anybody in his corner, it's him. Yeah. He's one of the best minds for mixed martial arts, physically and mentally, man. He is the fucking...
Yeah, he definitely changed.
Conor McGregor has exploded back into the spotlight, and this time it's different because Max Holloway's name is suddenly right in the center of everything in ways nobody anticipated just weeks ago. Recent hints are surfacing everywhere, while behind-the-scenes chatter continues leaking out, making this potential matchup feel less like wild speculation and more like something that could genuinely materialize. The real questions aren't about whether this fight would make sense or generate excitement, because that's obvious, but rather about timing, which version of Conor actually appears, and whether he can handle facing someone who remains active, dangerous, and competing at the sport's highest level.
But you mentioned Conor McGregor, your good friend, your brother. How's he looking?
He's amazing right now. I just talked to him. He's training hard, man. He's training every day. He's focused. That's why he's letting me go to the bare knuckle. He's staying in the gym. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man. He's not traveling. He's focused. He's training 2-3 times a day. He's doing all this crazy stuff to get his body right. Like new stuff that I've seen him been doing, like kind of like stuff like LeBron does, like to take care of your body, like you know. Yeah. I think it's like plyometrics or something. I'm not sure, but
plyometrics?
Just like stuff to like build like, and he's like transforming, like I would say, like Rocky. What was he when he plays a Russian? Like he's just in a super good.
Wade Plemons raises legitimate concerns about Max coming off a decisive one-sided defeat that left little room for interpretation, making the timing feel awkward and misaligned. While he acknowledges the fight would undoubtedly be thrilling, he questions what version of Max would actually step into the octagon and what that says about the bout's credibility. Having just watched Holloway get clearly outclassed, immediately throwing him into a Conor fight feels rushed and potentially forced, weakening the narrative appeal despite the obvious star power and mainstream interest. The optics simply don't align properly from a storytelling standpoint, even with the undeniable marquee value.
There's Max. I mean, fair play to Max. He is at least vying for it. You know, he's trying. He wants a big fight. Conor is the biggest fight you can make. Here's why I don't think it's Max Holloway. Number one, Conor will, I think, fight anybody at this point because it feels like he's being frozen out and the UFC's only reserving him for a massive, massive, massive card or a slot on a card where he can sell tickets because International Fight Week is better than the White House for Conor. He can sell actual tickets in the venue. But Max coming off a loss, especially the way he lost, I almost think disqualifies him a little bit from the Conor fight. Not that people wouldn't be excited about it, but it's too fresh in our minds, I feel like, right? We just watched Charles Oliveira, whether you liked the fight or not, dominate Max Holloway completely. And so what are we saying by sticking that version of Max Holloway in there with Conor McGregor? I just think that the too soon nature of Max getting dominated like that, maybe people would forget and not really care about it because people did not like the fight anyway.
But then the matchup still works fundamentally, creating what could be a genuinely challenging fight for Conor, perhaps more difficult than initial reactions might suggest. Max's current status remains crystal clear, still active, sharp, and battling elite division contenders while delivering incredible performances even in defeat. Conor represents the complete opposite scenario, surrounded by uncertainties, extensive time away from competition, and that lingering leg injury casting shadows over everything. When you combine Max's current form against Conor's massive question mark, Holloway could present serious problems if McGregor isn't approaching his previous elite level, which remains a monumental uncertainty.
I like the fight. Don't get me wrong, I like the fight. I think, honestly, Max would be a problem for Conor, a real problem. I think that's too much too soon for him. But then again, how much do you really have left with Conor McGregor? If you bring him back and have him fight Max Holloway and then he has one more fight, maybe you do the Nate Diaz fight and he's out of there. That would be an okay finish to his run, the running the rematch with Max and the trilogy with Nate, sure. But I don't see Conor, fighting for titles anytime soon or anything like that. So I was looking for big name, big time matchups. This is a big time matchup, but it's Max off a loss. I like the fight.
Ariel Helwani recognized this wasn't typical Conor attention-seeking behavior, but rather well-timed positioning that felt calculated and purposeful. The UFC desperately needs something massive to anchor pay-per-view sales and generate authentic buzz. Problems Conor's return immediately solves without requiring complicated promotional build-ups. Placing him against Max isn't about rankings or divisional positioning or title contention, but about matching him with someone currently relevant whom both casual fans and hardcore audiences recognize and respect. Max casually mentioning 170 pounds and willingness to fight Conor anywhere suggests genuine behind-the-scenes discussions are occurring, which makes perfect sense given Holloway's activity level, excellent conditioning, and reputation for delivering memorable fights while Conor brings unmatched attention regardless of his current form or lengthy absence.
Moves the needle.
Soon, I'm so excited and born ready the Notorious Conor McGregor. What did I tell you on Monday? I told you on Monday it would be something disastrous at this point if he's not fighting July 11th International Fight Week. And I believe, I didn't ask, but I believe this is what he's referring to. And I told you Max Holloway ain't playing games. So frontrunner Max Holloway, Conor McGregor, he's confirming it right then and there. There haven't been any other rumors about his return. And so I think that the UFC recognizes that, they've got to get the biggest star back. I think they're going to pay him better than what they were talking to John Jones about, better than the Conor Benn number, all that stuff. And I think people are going to be very excited about it. And, even Max said 170. Like I said, when Max put out that clip, I knew exactly what he was doing. He was planting the seed. He hasn't talked about Conor in quite some time. There was a time where he was chasing that Conor rematch. He hasn't been doing that, and then he did it, and it made all...
Another thing.
The timing becomes particularly strange when examining the sequence of events, because before the BMF fight occurred, nobody considered the loser facing Conor next as part of any realistic conversation. When these rumors gained momentum immediately following that bout, it indicated behind-the-scenes developments weren't visible publicly, suggesting they weren't completely sold on the Oliveira route due to excessive risk or limited appeal, viewing the Max situation as superior from promotional and timing perspectives given everyone's current career positions.
Thinking before that BMF title fight that the loser would end up fighting Conor. I think we thought maybe if Max would have won, they would have done a BMF title fight. But perhaps this is an indication that they didn't love the Charles fight. We'll see. We'll find out more as time goes on. But he confirmed it there, and I think we're going to see him July 11th. That's what I feel, and that's what That's what that tells me. Now, the Ian Gary thing, I don't think, Pizzi, he's not referring to, like, I think he's just like kind of talking slang stuff there, right? He's not.
Chael Sonnen explains the Michael Chandler fight's demise stemming primarily from timing issues rather than personal drama or conflicts. That entire promotional buildup was completely exhausted after they completed the television show, promotional work, and comprehensive marketing campaign. Then everything stagnated indefinitely. Attempting to revive that narrative now lacks the original excitement and momentum it possessed 2 years ago when the concept felt fresh and compelling. If you're genuinely restarting Conor's career trajectory meaningfully, you need bigger thinking than simply completing old business. Fans have moved beyond, requiring fights that reveal his current capabilities rather than checking boxes for matchups that should have occurred years earlier.
Now, if you're going to treat Conor like everybody else, and I want to pay off this Chandler statement first. It's about what's next. It's about where does this fight lead us? Now, Conor versus Chandler, and it breaks my heart that this isn't getting done, largely just on a personal level to see like what Chandler went through. And Conor himself, I got to give him credit, has tried to keep that, not for him, for Chandler. But that was meant to be a payoff. They had a media tour, they had a back and forth, it turned personal. They did The Ultimate Fighter, which to this day has been the greatest marketing vehicle in the history of our industry, not just the company. That was supposed to be the payoff. The problem is 2.5 years has gone by. So now you got to start over at step one. And on step one, that's where Chandler does not become the perfect opponent. Because Chandler, we also don't know.
The Anderson Silva comparison becomes particularly sobering for Conor supporters, suggesting McGregor might occupy similar late career territory where he remains a massive draw and main event attraction capable of selling out arenas, but won't automatically receive the biggest available fights without proving himself first. This wasn't accidental commentary, but rather indication that the UFC might actually use Conor to elevate another fighter if he's no longer the same competitor, if he doesn't resemble prime McGregor upon return. Instead of protection through soft comeback opponents past their prime, they might place him against dangerous, active competition and let results determine everything naturally.
But, and I'll use Anderson Silva as a great example, who is the best fighter in the world, the champion of the world, had the exact same catastrophic leg injury, attempted to make a comeback. And it was an interesting position because Anderson was great, and Anderson had the rankings, and he had the name, he had the meaning, and he was a main event guy. But he wasn't a main event pay-per-view guy. Because those are largely reserved for title fights. So they paid Anderson all those same respects, and they kept him as a main event. In his last fight, just to remind you, instead of being in front of a sold-out Mandalay Bay or a record-setting MGM crowd like he was used to, they took him over to the Apex, and they did it on a fight night. But they kept him as a main event, and they put him with a killer known as Uriah Hall, and that was kind of used to elevate Uriah. If Anderson could have stood his ground and he could have found a way to win, he could return to that same spot and he could continue to be a main event over there. I believe is how that story would have gone. And I believe that's very similar with Conor. I believe he's going to get dealt from the bottom of the deck.
Dylan Danis emphasized Conor's current focus level, describing genuine commitment unseen in years, clarifying this isn't maintenance training or casual preparation, but serious exploration of new techniques and physical approaches at this career stage. Dylan described it as complete reconstruction from foundational elements, a total reset fighters sometimes undergo when attempting to return better than before, which makes perfect sense given Conor's situation requiring rebuilding of conditioning, timing, confidence, and every competitive aspect. When discussing potential opponents, Dylan kept things deliberately vague while making clear the fight would be significant enough to generate genuine excitement and widespread discussion, allowing people to read between the lines while expressing complete confidence in Conor's physical and mental sharpness.
But you mentioned Conor McGregor, your good friend, your brother. How's he looking?
He's amazing right now. I just talked to him. He's training hard, man. He's training every day. He's focused. That's why he's not gonna go to the bare knuckle. He's staying in the gym. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it, man. He's not traveling. He's focused. He's training 2-3 times a day. He's doing all this crazy stuff to get his body right. Like new stuff that I've seen him been doing, like kind of like stuff like LeBron does, like to take care of your body, like
Yeah.
I think it's like plyometrics or something. I'm not sure, but
Biometrics?
Just like stuff to build and he's like transforming, like I would say, like Rocky, when he plays a Russian, like he's just in a super good camp, I would say, and he's very focused and he's like a different. He's like the old Conor to me right now, man. I love it. I love to see it, and I like checking up on him, seeing how he's training, and he's doing great. I see some footage, man, and when he comes back, he's.
Michael Bisping stated Conor himself initiated this renewed fight discussion, emphasizing Michael Chandler's complete removal from consideration as that narrative has become outdated and lost its excitement, while even the UFC has moved toward other possibilities. Bisping mentioned Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz as legitimate contenders due to existing history, established storylines, and sustained fan interest, indicating Conor isn't merely seeking attention but moving towards something concrete within the next few months. People close to him confirm he's training with old-school intensity and dedication that originally made him great, with hints pointing toward a significant fight that makes promotional and competitive sense.
There's so many rumors, who could it be? And right now it's kind of floating around. Is it a Max Holloway rematch?
I can't say. You can't get me in trouble. You can't get me in trouble here. But it will be someone definitely exciting.
And you'll be in his corner.
I think I'm banned.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Well, I mean, if anybody was going to get me on ban, it would be him. So.
Maybe he could FaceTime you.
Yeah,
or one of his coaches.
Hey, listen, that man, if there's anybody that has the IQ, doesn't anybody in his corner, it's him. He's one of the best minds for mixed martial arts, physically and mentally, man. He is the fucking...
Yeah, he definitely changed.
The ultimate question remains which version of Conor appears when the cage door closes and performance time arrives, because if he approaches his peak form and resembles the fighter who dominated featherweight and lightweight divisions, everything changes immediately. The entire landscape shifts, conversations evolve, and he's suddenly back in title contention. But if the layoff and injuries have taken too much, the opposite could happen just as quickly, potentially marking the beginning of the end. Either way, this represents a pivotal moment the entire sport awaits, where everyone has opinions and watches closely, ready to answer crucial questions about Conor's future, his current place in the sport, and whether he can still compete at the highest level.